Yeah, hi, this is a quick tutorial covering DPLYR and ggplot. I think this will probably be the most meaningful lecture that you have in the series in terms of learning the core basics of R. The whole class is not based on R, but for the parts that are, this should be incredibly helpful to getting you to the next level. I'm going to do it relatively quickly. So I'm going to provide the code. So all this code you're going to receive. I'm going to take you through it real quick just so you can see the functionality. First, I'm going to use, there are embedded data sets within tidyverse that you should have already loaded on your system. Um, and the first, if it's probably already loaded if you loaded tidyverse, but I have this in here. It doesn't matter if you load it twice. It brings in, you can see the data set iris. Uh, some simple functionality. You can see the headers for iris just so you know what's there. Um, but then we're going to learn some functions that you'll be using. So first, filtering, and so I highlight the rows here, and this is the code. And then for each one of these, I'll have a view, so the data will pop up afterwards. You don't need to run that if you don't want to see it, but for now, I'm going to show you what it looks like when that pops up. And you see it pops up the table, and this created the filtered data set that you'll see in your environment. You can close that. And then the other functionality that I have here, I have a hash mark so it doesn't run, but if I close that off, I can run it with the code. This is how to export your data into Excel or a CSV file. So if I hit run, the code runs. If you look at your files, this will be in your working directory. Let me change this. Oop, it was modified last. And then this is filtered data. This is the file we created, a CSV file. So then you can access it in Excel. So I'm not going to repeat this each time, but each one has it has a view that shows up. I leave that on so when you run it, it'll show up. You can toggle this between active and inactive with that hash mark. So if we take it off, it's active. You see there. Leave it on. And then the way it works is it's just the file we created, write.csv, the file we created, filtered data. Then the name, you can change the name here, or you can change it when it's in your directory, in your folder. So I'm not going to cover this on each one, so I'll cover it up front, but this is functionality that's available for each of these. So that's how you filter data. So in this case, we're filtering it based on sepal length greater than 5. And you can see from the filtered data that everything sepal length will be larger than 5. That's how to use filter. You can close that off. The next one we're doing arrange, and this is going to arrange based on sepal length. So we're taking the same iris data and we're arranging based on sepal length. And you see when it opens, it's going to be an arrange puts it in numerical order. So it's a way of sorting it. You also have from a visual, you can sort things through here and filter. It doesn't save it to the file, but if you wanted to use filters to find certain things, and you can use filters here. This is in the data view format, but we can cover that later. And every time I run it, so arrange data is now in my data environment here, and then I can save that file as a CSV file here in the bottom. This is to select specific columns. So in this case, we don't want everything that's in the data set. You can have 100 columns, and you only really need 3 of them. But you can identify here. So it's selected columns is what we're creating. The data set is iris. If you remember this, we pipe it into the code here, which is select by species, sepal length, and petal, and those are all column names. And then you can, if you run it, you'll see that those are the columns that you have. And you'll have this code, so you can go back and use it and customize it as you need to, and you can run it against any data set that you have. The other is this is mutating data. This is something that we are using. In this case, we are taking the iris data. So we're creating the mutated data file using the iris data, pipe it into the mutate function, and we're calling sepal area, which is what we're creating, is equal to sepal length times sepal width. This is a function in here, and you can create almost any type of function. The comma is then this is all part of the same mutate function. We're also creating size category, so you can put multiple mutations in here, but size category is equal to, and this is an if-else statement that you can see. It takes the sepal length greater than 5, and so the if-else is if sepal length is greater than 5, then it's an embedded if-else. If-else petal length is greater than 3, then large and long. So there's two things embedded here. Then the else for the the second if else is large and short, and then the all other is small. And I'll cover this more in class. And then you can view the mutated data. It sounds complicated, but when you see it, especially if you associate it to how you do if else or if then in Excel, it's not quite as complicated as it looks. Then another one here, this is a summarized data function. So we're grouping by species. You summarize the data using the iris set, pipe that into group by species, and then pipe that into summarize. In this case, we're creating average sepal dot length, which is equal to the mean of the sepal length. And this is the max sepal length, which is equal to the max of the sepal length. We created this value, and then we can summarize it. You'll see this is what we created: average length and max length, which is a calculation that we were able to build. Then you can join data sets. I don't know if we have that much. I'd rather do this outside of R, but if you have two data sets with the same headers, you can join them. And you'll see here it was as simple as two different data sets. It brought them together. There was no value for value 2 in one of the data sets, in either of the data sets, so it comes back as 0 or NA, not available. Let me close that out. And then all of these, if there's a print function here, there's two ways to do it. Usually I would use, this is the more common one, where you just print the data set. This is only to run it in your console. The better way is to view it as we did it within the code, and also to save it as a CSV, which you can work then in Excel. So I'm going to stop. This is the DPLYR portion. I'm going to go ahead and do another one for ggplot.